And to talk about the potential of ISRO-NASA cooperation, we are joined by our guest, Lieutenant General Retired Anil Bhatt, DG, Indian Space Association. General Bhatt, good afternoon and welcome. Now, how do you see the significance of NASA chief's visit, and how does it pave the way for the future cooperation between the two premier space agencies?
Cooperation between NASA and ISRO is as old as when ISRO was formed. In fact, the first rocket which was launched by INCOSPAR, the forerunner of ISRO, in 1963 was a Nike Apache rocket of the Americans. Thereafter, relationship between both the nations have been there, even for the SITE program. And in recent times, of course, firstly, we have in June, when the Prime Minister was there, the NSAs of the two countries have signed the Critical and Emerging Technology Pact in June 2023. As also the Artemis Accord, India has become a signatory of it, with which exploration of the moon and Mars and beyond in cooperation with NASA would be done. And of course, what you mentioned just now in the news, NISAR, that is the NASA ISRO satellite aperture radar, the satellite which is there, one of the most expensive satellites in the world, would be launched in the first quarter of next year.
And to these exciting space missions ahead for India, whether it is the remote sensing satellite or particularly the human space flight, how do you see the importance of convergence of the expertise of NASA and ISRO?
This, like one of the best examples of this convergence of scientific expertise of the two nations has been this NISAR satellite, which has two radars of L and S band, where the L band has been made by the Americans, the S band has been made in India. And this complete satellite, the radar had gone to America, it was put into the satellite, thereafter it has come into India, it is being tested there, and this contribution for SAR, which will be used for scientific purposes, for disaster management, for agriculture, for environment, will be a joint cooperation between the two nations.
And any conversation, General Bhatt, also centers around the success of Chandrayaan-3 mission. Do you also see that mission, in a way, reinvigorated global attention on India's space program and potential?
Yes. Here I would like to mention, even in Chandrayaan-1, one of the testing equipment in which detected water was an American instrument. So we have been having even cooperation in Chandrayaan-1 and even in Chandrayaan-3. And in the space domain, in the scientific domain, our cooperation with USA, I'm very sure, will continue. And of course...
Yes, and General Bhatt, what are the strengths you would say that ISRO brings to the table? Its cost-effective solutions have been in focus always.
Oh yes, that is one thing. Our ISRO has a great name, is that they've been able to effect solutions for launching Chandrayaan, Aditya, even the mission to Mars at much lower costs. And of course, we have a legacy of scientific knowledge, expertise, which has grown over in the last 60 years.
Right. And sir, the recent reforms that have been introduced in the space sector, the rise of space startups in the country as well, how has that expanded the potential of the sector and the program?
Oh, very rightly said by the ISRO chairman, space, which was only ISRO's domain, now has become the Indian space enterprise led by ISRO, having academia, having private partners, having startups. And we are so proud that 140 of our startups are venturing into all domains of space, be it launching of rockets, where 2 to 3 companies, startups are there, manufacturing of satellites, and into many, many applications. We definitely see the space sector in India blooming in a few years.
Right. And General Bhatt, finally, there is also a commercial aspect to the space sector. India has emerged as a credible launcher of satellites for the world as well. But yet it occupies, if I quoted correctly, about 2% of the $400 billion space industry. How do you see the road ahead?
So you are very right. And this is one of the reasons the government decided to open space to private sector, because being a spacefaring nation, we deserved a larger share of 450 billion, as they say now, and it will become a 1 trillion space economy. And as per the study done by InSpace, in 10 years, their decadal vision is that we would go to 8 to 10% of the global space economy, which would be really a great jump, about 40 to 50 billions.
There, General Anil Bhatt, thank you very much for joining us in News Hour and sharing your perspective.